TV, what is it? I'm not trying to be awkward, but I'm super mega busy. Yes. What? Hey, yeah. Are we on TV?
I have awoken.
Evening all, I hope you can all see me and hear me. We're a little bit late getting started. I've just sort of, John's on holiday today, so I've stolen his slot, but he did ask me to. We're going to be working on Mephiston today. I'm just chasing my cat out the door. And we can get started. I don't know if we've got anybody in the chat yet. No, not yet. So, there's Mephiston. I know he's out of focus a little bit. I'm experimenting with just manually focusing this today because it kept on drifting out the other day. And before we get too excited about that, I need a beer. So, I'm already some beer in tonight before we're starting. So, I'm on the soft drinks to carry on. Otherwise, we won't get till midnight before I'm singing songs and falling over. And I'd really like to get Mephiston done reasonably well. Miguel, what paint do you suggest for brass? When I'm doing brass, I'm just trying to think if I've got any handy models. No, I've taken them all away. I would normally go with something like a kind of fairly dull gold colour, but a warm dull gold colour. Something like this is Viking Gold from Scale 75, so something this kind of colour. Over a decayed metal, so kind of a brownish colour. And find some, I haven't really handy. Like a brownish metallic colour, like decayed metal from Scale Colour. And then I'll probably highlight with either a pure copper colour, like this, or I would go the other way and use a bright silver. And that should give you kind of look, depending on how tarnished you really want it to go with. Right. So, we're 2 hours in on this 4-hour paint job. Last time, we managed to get the sword done to an extent. It still needs some detailing. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the cloak. That looks alright. We've got all the other bits blacked out at the moment. We got his head done, where I've left that. And there's his backpack, and I'm pretty happy with that as well. So today I need to carry on getting some detailing done. We need to get his base done. And then we need to start looking to put it all together. There's his head. I don't know how well that's going to come out in the camera. We've got his head done as well. Last lesson. I've got to stop saying that. You can tell I'm a school teacher. So yeah, so we're going to start off with, I think, getting this blood drop on his shoulder done, and then probably the text for the books. Maybe some of the browns done, I think, first. So I'm going to start off with some grey blue from Ammo by Mig. No problem, Miguel. Cheers, JT. It's the summer. I know we're all at home. Well, I'm at home. And I thought people probably want a bit more to do. So we're trying to put out content most days. We've not got anything as of yet for next Thursday. And I don't have anything coming out tomorrow. Although, if you keep an eye on the BAC channel, you will see the Army List show tomorrow is a special, which has got my list and Mark's list and Residual's list on it. Robert White, about to start dry brushing this night. Wish me good luck, guys. Yeah, good luck, mate. I don't know if you saw my super quick night. Dry brushing is the way forward with those things, or you'll be there all day. Tony, what you said last week resonate with Time Crunch. Trying to get 2 Carnifex fully painted in 4 sit-downs. Yeah, I know the feeling, mate. It's good for me because otherwise I wouldn't get anything finished. But sometimes I wish I didn't have a deadline. Let me know if you can see this all right, and if the camera quality and you can hear the music, etc. Yeah, the Roast the Mods video, JT. That's the one. John is not going to... Or he's already marked it. He hasn't said anything yet. I don't know. It'll be a surprise to me when I see it as well. But he is not going to like my list. All the things that he says are important in the list, I've completely ignored and done totally different. Hi, Mark. Stephen S. Maybe the Grots could host their own painting competition open to all factions. Yeah, I'll be up for that. I think that could be a laugh. We'd have to work on how we're going to do it, though. I like to have it fairly clean kind of what we're going to do and how we want it to work. But I like the idea of opening it up to all factions. I mean, I paint loads of stuff from loads of different factions. I love Blood Angel stuff. I'm painting Mephiston. But there's lots of other models that I've enjoyed painting. A lot. I'm really getting a kick out of painting my custodes at the moment. I just like painting gold, to be honest. A lot of fun. And their sculpts are a little bit newer for a lot of things. And that just makes them a little bit more fun to paint, I think. Some of the old Blood Angels models are absolutely iconic, but they are a bit old. I really dislike the models for Sanguinary Guard. They really need an update. Yeah, I do love gold. If I could post the meme, I would. Hey, Rosiel. Robert White. Nicest gold I've used is Necro Gold from Metal and Alchemy. Yeah, that one. So show, that's exactly what I'm going to be using later on Mephiston. It's a great base gold. It gives a really kind of desaturated, slightly greenish tone, which I like for using on Blood Angels. They've got this kind of faded glory thing going on about them. So whereas my Custodes I've been painting with much richer, warmer gold, for the Sanguinary Garden that I like to use that really desaturated Necro Gold. Oh, Resi's using my using the scale golds now as well. They're brilliant. They're really good. I haven't found anything that I've liked more than those ones at the moment for golds. Let me know if I start drifting off the screen or something, because I have a habit of moving around. Right, while that's drying, I'll work on another bit. Atlas, I need to finish painting my Mephiston at some point. It's such a good model. It's one of my all-time favourite sculpts. It's beautiful. I love the old bit of art. So this is Chimera Carbon Black. I like this. It's super matte, super thick, and that means that you can really control. It's very easy to thin a paint down. It's harder to thicken a paint up. If you want something that's got a lot of control over it, this is a paint that I like using a lot on the wet palette. Although I've noticed that I've just put it slightly off camera. Is that right? Our Seraphon. As in the Age of Sigmar Seraphon. The old lizard men. Or are you thinking more 40k Seraphim? Sorry Joel, I'm not quite sure what you mean. If you mean the lizard men for Age of Sigmar, yeah, they're cool. My very first army of any game in Warhammer was, they used to be called lizard men years ago, but they're now the Seraphon. And they were the first army I played for any of these games. Probably shouldn't have had 4 pints before I start painting tonight, because I'm a little bit shaky, I've noticed. Annoying me that I forgot to do this rim black last. Miguel, what kind of top coat would you put over gold? If you want it to look really lustrous, then you need a gloss top coat. I use a matte top coat and I'm aware it kills the shine, but that's just because I feel it fits in better with the rest of my armies. But generally, yeah, if you're using metallics as a top coat, you want a gloss. Vallejo actually sell a gloss for metallics, and then you can mix that with the pigments to make a super bright. I think it's Green Stuff World sell the pigments separately. And you mix those with a gloss varnish to make a mega bright paint. I haven't tried them out though, so I can't see how good they are. Super precision work when I'm a bit shaky. I really like Seraphon, although they do have some older models. Yeah, but the older models are super cool, Resi. Dinosaurs from Age of Sigma, yeah. Paint is like darts. Drink more of it. Drink more and it will get better until tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to think that this is superbly painted, and then tomorrow I'm going to be sitting here looking, thinking, what the bloody hell is this? Yeah, what have I done with my life? Most is primarily to 40k. There's a lot less Sigma talk. There is a lot less Sigma talk, yeah. I don't know if they're good in game. Joel collects Space Marines and Orcs as well. Oh, classic. I don't play the game. This is quite complicated. I'll learn it soon. It's good fun. If you're only 12, I have a word with your teachers. So I run a Warhammer club at my school, and I have maybe 10 or 15 kids. And we do Warhammer, and there's some kids there that play 40k and some that play Sigma, and I give them a few lessons. I bring in a few extra models and armies and that for them to play with. We're going to be doing a trip with our school later this year, hopefully, up to Warhammer World. So have a word, and you might find that some of your teachers will play, and they will let you teach you in school. Back to this grey and put another coat on this. These MIG paints are beautiful through the airbrush, but they're not really ideally designed for a hairy brush. They're a little bit thin out of the bottle. I like the colour for this one. I need Mark to have like a little buzzer to lay like, Buzz, you've gone off screen again. Yes, this is Mephiston. Syntax. Maybe Resi. I think part of it is the older dinosaurs, the older lizard men have got a much more cartoony aesthetic. They also lent in a little bit more to that Aztec aesthetic, which is not really the thing anymore. And the new ones are much more beasty and monstery. And I quite like the slightly cartoony lizard men look over that. Right, that's all drying now, so I'm going to have to do something else for a minute. So let's start working on some of this leather. So this is, I don't have many of these because I'm not a biggest fan. This is a Reaper paint, ruddy leather. Now these, they've got a couple of these browns. They're a bit thin, but they give a really nice finish for doing leather. It's quite a satin paint. But if you're going to mix that up, so I'm going to use these. I'm not planning necessarily to varnish this. So the satin finish on the leather, and then I'll use a much more matte colour to represent the scratches. And that should give us a nice little bit of variety on the model. See, this is a super runny paint. Not to dampen the mood, but Tony, what do you think of the talk of teacher shortage? How would you fix it? Is it just as simple as more pay? It's not as simple as more pay. It's much more to do with the fact that they keep trying to get more teachers by getting more teachers. And I know that sounds obvious, but it's not really the problem. I trained about 10 years ago now, and 10 years in a career is a reasonable amount of time, but it's not crazy. I'm the only person of the 60 people that qualified still as a teacher. And the reason is, although it's not a bad place to start your career, it's a crappy place to continue it. So they keep giving big bursaries and incentives to become a teacher, but what they're not doing is looking after people who already are teachers. So, and that's where a lot of the knowledge and experience is. So the new teachers are coming in, they're getting lumped with all of the worst classes and the most difficult situations and overworked because there's not enough teachers, and then they're quitting again because the older, more experienced who are able to do with the more difficult situations a little bit easier are leaving. So the way to deal with a teacher crisis is to make it a place that not everyone wants to quit after a couple of years, and then you don't need to spend so much time and money getting new teachers into it because you're not losing as many. Resi dislikes cartoony stuff. Well, that's the difference. It's got great coverage, this paint, as well. Even though it is very thin. Syntax error. I've been waiting to pick up Mephiston for a while now, but I'm not confident enough that my painting skills will do him justice. The thing about it is, Syntax, is it doesn't matter. It's only paint. If I absolutely balls this up, I'll get some isopropyl. I've got a big bottle of it here. And I'll give it a rinse and a bit of a scrub and I'll start again. And I haven't lost anything. It's only paint. And if I'm painting on thin enough, I'll probably just paint directly over. That looks like an umber. It is, wherever I've just put it down, it's Reaper Ruddy Leather. Yeah, that's come up on screen. It's not bad. I'm not a big fan of the whole Reaper range, but there's a couple of them that I quite like, and that's one of them. The grey patch on the wet palette, does that look like someone shaping clouds sometimes? No, I can't see it, mate. Is it like one of those Rorschach tests? If you can see something, then you need to see a psychologist. If anybody's curious, the brush I'm using at the moment is an Artist Opus size 2. Bro, you just got to have confidence. You can paint well, man. Positive vibes, positive outcomes. Yeah, absolutely. Just go for it. Like I say, if it all goes wrong, it doesn't matter. It's only paint. So what I hear is maybe about a retirement plan. Yeah, it's part of that. I'm not to get political or anything, and I try and avoid it, but 4 points in. A few years ago, there was a big march, and the teachers all went on strike, and the newspapers reported it as teachers went on strike for pay, and it's just not true. Teachers went on strike because they added 15 years to our retirement age. We used to be able to retire earlier, and if you've ever been in a classroom, you'll know why. It's bloody hard work. And we went on strike because they added 15 years to our retirement age, and pay wasn't really a thing. I mean, people are upset about pay at the moment. Our pay's been frozen basically since 2010 now, and people are getting a bit fed up with it every year. But really, it's about things like that. It's about working conditions, pension age, this sort of thing. You know, yeah, sitting upside down compared to you, Tony. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, I forget that. I'll try and flip the screen at one point, but I did that before and it just looked a bit weird. I'm doing these gloves intentionally rough with this brown because I'm going to use a wash on them to dull it back down. I want a hint of brown in there, but I don't want them to be brown gloves. They are supposed to be black. Just me personally, but I think in line with what Tony was saying, it's not retirement primarily either. It's more like being overworked and understaffed. Yeah, it's fine having us work longer, but when you're in your 60s, you can't be dealing with 30 screening teenagers trying to kill you, which is what we have to deal with at the moment. Or more sometimes. I think pay the teachers for the hours they put in. I know while many are schooled at 60 plus hours, oh, it's a damn sight more than that, yeah. Yeah, you should. It's a great model. Cesaro 15 years. Yeah, it was a big jump in one hit. Retirement went from 55 to 70. Most teachers I know are social workers, 70% and 30% teaching. Yeah, sounds about right. I kind of think I won't retire at the sense most people imagine that term. A person needs to continue doing things to maintain their health and well-being. Yeah, they absolutely do, but it's nice to be able to shift what you're doing a little bit. And that's what used to happen. Teachers didn't retire at 55, but they took on other roles. You know, maybe working with smaller groups or helping kids or something. It's not the same standing at the front of a classroom full of kids. Alright. It's not too bad. Right, I want to dull these gloves back down. So I'm going to take... Don't use it very often. But I am going to use a bit of Nuln Oil. This is the old one. But only because it's got a slightly more matte finish. And because I want to dull the whole thing down a little bit. Right, well, that's done. Let's start putting the white on the other bit. So, white, I'm going to be using Ammo by Mig Satin White. Another super runny paint. These ammo paints are super good through the airbrush, but are not great for hairy brush generally. But I want this satin finish for this bit. Doing the very tips of these feathers. I'm trying to make sure I leave some of that grey between them. Got a bit of definition. I want this to read as white though. I don't want to leave too much grey in there. Painting. Oh no, that's not matte. No, it's not matte. Because I'm not going to varnish this model, I want a variety of finishes on it. Whereas most of the stuff I do, I try and keep it the same. I was painting eagle feathers white last night on that coatier. So small I had to create half of them myself. Yeah, you do on some of those older models. I feel like I'm out of focus. Doing a couple of coats to really want these feathers to pop. I like multiple finishes, but I'll often use different varnishes to do it because I want to get sun protection. Yeah, I can understand that. Most of my gaming figures I give 2 or 3 coats of varnish on. It's normally 2 or 3 coats of ultra matte, to be honest, because they do wear out otherwise. If I'm honest, I see Mephiston spending more time in the cupboard than on the table though. Relatively happy with that. It's alright, let's go back to the leather. Well, actually, let's do the pages in that book first. So, this is Ivory by Vallejo. This is a great paint for mixing with things because it's really, really, really high opacity, which means it covers beautifully. So I'm going to take a little bit of this ivory, brown, and I'm going to paint the pages in on this book. Oh, I've got a little bit. Speaking residual language with mess, that in the case. Yeah, I don't like special characters. I'm sure I've talked on the channel before about how I feel that special characters, to be special, shouldn't be on the table. Or if they are, it's for narrative games. I don't mind that he's not amazing from a balance point of view. But I just don't want to see him on every table. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why is the chief librarian involved in a 500-point border skirmish somewhere, you know? Makes no sense. Trickier than you might think to do this up camera. I'm excited to see our list get roasted tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be fun. John hasn't done one of my lists for a long time. So I think he was quite excited to do it for some mad reason. He'll hate the list though, because it's the exact opposite of everything that all of you lot like. You know, I've only got one unit of Sanguinary Guard, for example. Because again, it makes no sense that there are multiple units of Sanguinary Guard about. Rezi, I think he was talking about Mephiston, that's why he's in a border patrol. I don't even have any built Sangard at this point. Fair enough, Atlas. They're very good, don't get me wrong. They are definitely the best unit Blood Angels can field at the moment. But it's just a bit boring. Every list I look at the moment seems to have at least, seems to have 3 units of Sanguinary Guard as a starting point. That's boring. This is just pure ivory now. Alright, let's tidy this up again. Should have done the pages first, but I just happen to have the brown on the palette and not the ivory. Yeah, that's alright. Brown, oh, ivory on the sword. Ending me by being there. Right. Now let's put a bit of interest in. So I'm going to use a super matte paint now. This is Gobi Brown. This is so it's almost a greenish tone from scale 75. And this is going to add a little bit of different colour. And then the other one I'm going to use is this Dubai Brown, which is it's almost greyish colour as well. And by mixing those two with the satin already on there, I should get a more interesting looking leather. I'm not a big fan of running Sanguinary Guard. It feels so boring if my arm is the exact same as everyone else's. Yeah, I agree. I'm not debating that they're the most efficient unit at the moment, but they're just a bit boring. So I don't want to run them. So I've just got the one little unit. I think my list has 2 Sanguinary Guard. It's not against law because barely half the supposed numbers. Yeah, I suppose so, but I just like to think that they would all be in one unit following Dante around. 100 unit choices and the same 6 to 8 get played. Yeah, exactly. I know that a lot of people want to be competitive, but I still want it to look cool and be cool. Dante shares a field. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Hang on, I need to put on my proper voice for this, Azaria. Tired of slaying heretics on Geraldus 4? Come to Sunnius Planetus 9. Spend your days slaying Egyptian murder bots instead. Inquire at your local travel agency now. Is that what Mephi saw when he went off on his trip to... I think I should be a travel agent. It'd be a much more interesting job sometimes. Sorry, probably yes. With the CP restrictions and tax now for relics and traits, does bringing Death Company captains or lieutenants sound more feasible? I don't know if they are or not. If you want a cheap murdery guy and you want to be able to make him, you can make him Death Company if not costing any CP. But I'm not a fan of smash characters anyway, to be honest. I generally find out I get more utility out of the same number of points spent on a killer unit, like more Death Company or whatever. I mean, I do think that's a very personal perspective. I find Sanguinary Guard extremely fun and exciting. Fast and powerful combat, beautiful unit. I play my other armies when I want to switch gears. Yeah, sure. I don't debate it, and I don't begrudge people playing with units that they like. It's just I like to have an army that's a bit different to everybody else's. You know, I still run, 3 Dreadnoughts in my list. Well. Doesn't want to come out. This Gobi brown is basically baby poop colour. Crap paint when it comes to opacity, but in this case it's going to work in my benefit. Doing a few scratches and whatnot on there. What's going to show is the difference in finish much more than the difference in colour. Closer to the left and the top corner. Alright, I'll try that. It's because when I paint, I have a habit of doing this. I actually normally sit in there like this, so I'm trying to keep myself to keep it down here. What dreadnoughts do you run? My current list at 2,000 points has got 2 Redemptors and a Leviathan in it. Are you planning on using Demolishers soon? I love Demolishers. Stephen S. My cat just erased an hour's worth of work, lol. Jumped on me with a wet brush in hand. Streaked across the model, lol. Ooh. Yeah. At the beginning of the stream, the cat was in here and I had to chase her out. Right, I think that this model is a bit too boring, so let's brighten it up a little bit. I know this is ugly, but this is just a base. I'm going to paint these pipes yellow. Oh, pipe really, I suppose you can't really see the other one. I have to mash that this. These miniature holders are very good, but when you've only got one point of contact, sometimes it can get a little bit annoying. Clean up. Evening, namesake. Yeah, that's a big help, Rezil. That's exactly what I need you to do. Always enjoyed making those hoses for the Psychic Hood yellow. Such a neat tradition on the Psychers. Yeah, it is. Bloody hell, it's late. Almost midnight here. Forgot the time. I've got to go to sleep now. Good night, Syntax. Thanks for hanging out. Painted Mephiston twice now with varying schemes. I want to paint him a third time now. Really enjoyed painting him. Is this your first? No, it's my second one, but it's the first one for me. The first one was for somebody else. I've painted the old metal one. Beautiful model, and it's been sitting on my to-do list for ages. I've got a game versus Tyranids coming up next week. Any suggestions considering Mephiston? I would generally advise against Mephiston if you're serious about beating them. Prefer an unnamed librarian myself. Nids are very powerful but weak at scoring. The Flyrant with Reaper of Obliterax will just rock up and kill anything it likes. It's just an annihilation game, so no points or objectives. Although it's worse, if Nids are... Yeah, you're ice skating up a hill. To quote Blade in a very underappreciated game, some motherfuckers just like to ice skate uphill. Kill the big ones is still important, but you'll find the big ones are very tough. So overcommit is what I would suggest when you're trying to kill these things. I find the Librarian Dread to be more effective than Mephiston, especially with a flat 3 damage weapon. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Libby Dread. I used to run him an awful lot. I've sort of eased off running him a bit at the moment. Just because I'm not running many characters at the moment. Generally, I would agree with you and prefer him. Right, let's start with another colour. So this is Yellow Ochre from Chimera. This is what's going to be the base coat for those yellow pipes. In your current list, what is your Leviathan Dreadnought loadout? Grav and Drill. I also don't bother with any Hunter Killers, although I don't know anybody that does, because I don't think they're worth it. I like Grav and Drill because it's the... it means you can walk up, kill things, but do something while you're walking up. And I don't find that the extra attack you get by chucking in a claw is worth the loss of the shots. And that Grav Bombard's got a nice amount of shots. It can do a decent amount of damage as well. Termagants are not a top tier Nid choice though, so that's in your favour. Okay. Termagants are poor value overall, so Tervigon combo is suboptimal on the current Nid player. Fire all 3 Hunter Killer missiles in a round of shooting? No. I think you can, yeah. If I'm honest, I never take them, so I'm not totally sure on that. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Generally don't like one-shot weapons. I'm a bit of a cheapskate. I rarely buy war gear for anything. John takes the piss that I run Death Company and I still only have 1 Thunderhammer. If it's a big Death Company, I might bring 2 or 3. But in a 5-man squad, I always just bring the 1. I'm just too cheap to buy war gear. Always just end up bringing more dudes. Everybody wants a tip when you're painting yellow, using an ochre colour first. Ochre's got a much better coverage than pure yellow does. So it can help you do it in a few less coats. Got screwed last time with the harpy. It gets to drop spores outside of 6 inches. They have a move of 4 inches. Manage to movement phase mortals. Nasty. Harpies are good. They hate a tail gun line though, if that helps you wrap your head around them. They can't absorb massive shooting with buffs. No, they can't. Not that Blood Angels should play that way really. Well, they do in the fluff. At least I can't target my jump marines unless it spends its movement hovering. Yeah. A nicer jump pack melee can mix it up with them in combat. Yeah, that's how I've... someone jump packed my Thunderhawk in a game the other day. I was disappointed. And then I was happy because they failed to kill it and I shot them off the table. Right, let's brighten up this yellow a bit now with some warm yellow. Is this Mephiston for your army or a commission chain? This is for me. I'm fed up with painting them for other people, so I'm painting one for myself for a change. Which is why I'm so limited on time. I've allowed myself more or less 2 hobby streams. If I need to do a bit of basing or something afterwards, then I will. But I really want to try and finish him today. If I can finish him today, that means I'll have done him in 4 hours. We're going to finish today at about midnight UK time. I don't normally stream on a Saturday. This is just because John's not here. I dare you to use Cassandora yellow on those hoses, Tony. So sexy. I don't need to though. Already got some somewhere. Somewhere. Don't know where it is though. Right. Okay. I'm relatively happy with that. Start blacking in those details on the sword. Using the base that comes with him or making right. I'm just using the base that comes with him. Quite like it. When I've got multiple models like Dreadnoughts or whatever that have got the same base, then I'll tend to mix them up a little bit. I've only got the one. I'll colour it to match my other ones. And it gets a bit trickier because his foot's attached to the base. So if I didn't want to use that, I'd have to cut it off. A bit of a faff. Cock this up. Sword, which was a bit rough, but quite like. I'm running 2 Storm Eagles in a fun list currently, and they have performed well, believe it or not. We'll see you tomorrow if my third game is as lucky. I've used them before. I haven't used Storm Eagles. I've used Fire Raptors. Storm Eagles, though, look cool. I need to get one. I feel it would look good flanking my Thunderhawk. I built him the other week. Found him a tricky model to build. Meph and the Redemptor Dread in one sitting was a challenge. Yeah, ironically, I'm actually doing a Redemptor as well. There he is. It's on my painting desk as well at the moment. And a Sicaran as well, for that matter. But those two are a little bit behind this guy. Right, let's do some metallics, shall we? I'm getting bored with regular colours. Oh, actually, no, I want to darken those folds in that cloth first. So I'm just going to use a bit of this Flesh Terror's red just to darken it down a bit. Thinking to get the Storm Eagle myself, but I'll probably run it as a Storm Raven. You can do. Storm Ravens aren't very good either, to be honest. So I wouldn't worry about it. Apparently, although I've not built one, Mark has though, he tells me that the model is not great to build. So keep that in your head. A lot of work. A lot of those older Forge World models have got really, really deep mould lines and warped bits and stuff like that. So just bear that in mind. Just deepening the folds here a little bit. I don't like the way they do it almost to black on the box art. Doesn't make sense to me. It's too much contrast. Feels a bit weird and unnatural. So I'm not going to go quite that deep. Storm Raven can transport Dreadnought. That is true, but Storm Raven's also got the big Magna Grapple on the back to do so, whereas the Fire Raptor doesn't. So it would look a bit weird. That's any consolation. What Dreadnought are you going to hang off it? That's the important question. Do any fancy gold detail work or gold decals on his cape? Depends if I've got time, to be honest. Afi, I don't want to spend more than the 4 hours, so we'll see how much time I've got left at the end as to whether I've got time for any freehand or anything on there. Right, speaking of, it's time to do some metallics. Where's the lid? We'll start with the silver and then we'll go on to the gold in a minute. It's going to transport Libby Dread on a massive Squad of Death company. Well, that'll be fun. My favourite cheap melee Dread at the moment is the Ironclad. With Armour of Contempt, it's terrifying just how difficult it is to kill. 2-up save, toughness 8, only costs 135 points or so. Very annoying for your opponent. Generally use old sable brushes when I'm doing metallics, but I can't use one that's too knackered, otherwise you've got no tip on it. Is there any reason you decided on this time restriction for Mephiston, Tony? He's a bit of a showcase mini after all. He is a showcase mini, but I used to have a problem in that I always tried to paint everything as good as I possibly could. And what that meant was that my army would sit around as a single unit of infantry and a character, and I'd pour hundreds of hours into them, and I'd never play any games with it. And since then, I've decided, you know what? I'd rather work to see what the best I can do in an amount of time is, and be strict with myself, and then play with only fully painted armies, rather than making every unit the best I can and never finishing anything. Because I have a trouble with saying when to stop. So someone who's on, you see him on the chat sometimes, Kata, and he suggested to me that I set myself a 2-hour limit. Now I've flexed that a little bit, and I spend about 4 hours on a character, and I'll spend about 2 hours on basic guys, and that just means I get things painted. I'm not like super strict on it, but it made a big difference to actually the quality of my painting, because I concentrate on what makes things look best and what's important. Transport DC Dread, yeah, it's always good. Ironclad's good, Dread to transport, yeah. I need an Ironclad, been on my to-do list since the start of 8th. Do you just run it for... Yeah, absolutely. The Hurricane Bolt is useless. Went to town tonight for a beer, had an ice cream IPA. It was awful. Would be perfect for next Grots. If I see an ice cream IPA, I'll buy it. I was drinking nice beer earlier. I hear you there. I have a sort of method I default to that gets most modelled up to an acceptable standard, with the idea that I'm allowed to go back and finish them anytime I like. Works okay for hobby ADD. Yeah, absolutely. And I do. Sometimes I go back and tweak things that I'm not happy with. Sometimes I might redo something. Which is the case with that Redemptor. I wasn't happy with it, so doing it again. Right, what's next? Gold. So here's the Necro Gold. We talked about it earlier, and that's what we're going to use. Is the music still playing or not? I can't tell. I think it stopped. It has stopped. There we go. I think it's working now. Let me know if you can hear that or if it sounds right. Did you replace the tactical rock on Mephiston's base? No, because he's... Oh, that's going to annoy me. I've just dropped that in the paint. His foot's attached to it, and I couldn't really be bothered to carve it off. If his foot wasn't attached, I probably would have done. Levels are fine. Might look a bit weird that I'm painting these syringes gold, but there's a method to my madness. I've seen a random Mephiston online and they replaced his tactical rock with a surfboard and a wave. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. They've got to see the tactical rock jokes when they're sculpting these things and go, do you know what? Let's release someone not on a tactical rock. I know why they're doing it. They're looking for verticality, which makes the model look cooler, but let's buck the trend. It's getting a bit dull now. The most recent HH Dark Angel HQ release has a dumb ASF tactical rock. Yeah, it does. Cool model, silly rock. I really hate new character models standing on a thing trope. I just want the model to fit in with an army thematically and make the basing pretty optional. Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit annoying when they do ones that like rubble or whatever because I based all of mine on a desert. Yeah, that's a neat little colour palette on your thumb. Yeah. So when you first load in the brush, you tend to get like a dollop on the end. I don't know if it'll come up on the thing. So by doing that, you're just taking the excess off the brush. Goes on a little bit smoother and less blotchy. I know some pros, as it were, wear latex gloves. However, if I'm honest, soap is fine. It does wash off. It's not too big a deal. Oh right, just like the collar. Yeah, cheering. Oh, I get it. Yeah, okay. That wasn't my intention. Crazy Dutchies and they're reading into things. Or anybody thinks that I'm being mean, it's because he is Dutch. Oh, using a work palette. Yes, absolutely. This next to me here. Put it up. The main camera is... This is the new Redgrass Model 2 XL one. I used the little baby one for a long time, but I always found I wanted a bigger palette. When they kick-started the new one, I jumped on it and got a bigger one. I prefer wearing a glove on my left hand. I'm in the same habit of removing excess paint, testing consistency or refreshing my brush tips. Just do it on other surfaces. Yeah, fair enough. By the amount that you've seen me lick this brush, I agree with you, namesake. I'm always mean, Zoria. You know that by now. This brush I'm using for these metallics is about at the end of its life. Really struggling to get it to a point. Someone new might be getting relegated to being a metallics brush for long. I tend to use my thumbnail, it washes off a little bit easier to find. I find when I use my thumbnail it goes into the cracks and then it's quite annoying. I use my thumbnail though with washes and contrast paint because the smoother surface I think gives a better reflection of what it's going to look like. It's such a bizarre thing to be talking about, but it is true. Rather going quiet, so I'm concentrating. No, you should start your own line of brushes that are flavoured. I prefer flavoured paint. I'm pretty convinced I can tell which paint I'm using by how it tastes, but at this point. Craft beer flavours, even that'd be wicked. Beer flavoured paint. Good evening, Primark. Has the Thunderhawk been finished? Are we now living in the age of Thunderhawk meta? We are indeed. If you check out the latest Grots episode, the one that released last night, night before, so Thursday night, on tournament prep, I posted some pictures in there and unveiled the finished Thunderhawk. I say finished because that's kind of inverted commas. I might go back and add a bit more detail to it at a later date. Finished for now Thunderhawk. And it played its first game on Wednesday. Which it won, surprisingly. I don't know how. Finished the game on 2 wounds. There's only about 5 models left on the table and it was one of them. I'm honest, I don't tend to spend much time on the back of the model because Who the hell's going to look at the back of the model? Bonus free nail polish. Hashtag break the mold. Yeah, absolutely. Thunderhawk's always meta in Apocalypse games. Absolutely. It's meta in all games. 1,000 points and up, because 1,000 points is this. You can run a Thunderhawk, a Tech Marine, and a unit of something troops for exactly 1,000 points. Stephen S. been loving speed painted Tyranids. I've seen them. I think they're a great army. Someone else who we chat to on our Patreon's been talking to me about doing some of his own painting, and I recommend Tyranids to him because you can get a good finish without too much time. I think they're a really good and an underrated beginner painter army. You can get a nice look without too much work, and then you can bring it up to the next level without a huge amount of extra investment. Weird skull thing he's got on his shoulder. I'm probably about to jump into back hobby chats as Tony is ending. I'll be on and doing stuff. I don't think John's doing a stream tonight unless he's managed to hop on somewhere. That was why I am. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you mean on the Discord? Been setting up a poor man's hobby stream in the Discord on and off. It's been fun. I did see that, yeah. How many demolishes does it take to kill a Thunderhawk and 1 mana shooting? Well, it didn't die, but in turn 1 it took 2 Lemon Russ, a Stormlord, 3 Sentinel Las Cannons, and because Guardsmen now wound everything on 6s, all of the Guardsmen. So, I don't know, 60 or so Guardsmen Las Gun shots, and it lost 10 wounds. And then in turn 2, it took 5 Melter Guns. And because I was playing a 3-way with it, it took a Vanguard Veteran-ish Deathwatch squad with a couple of Thunderhammers in it. And it didn't die. It was left on 2 wounds. And then it killed everything. And refused to die for the rest of the game. It was quite fun. So it was surprisingly hard to kill, but I think part of that was Armour of Contempt means that you get to roll a lot of 4-ups, and I rolled a lot of 4-ups. It's almost like playing Custodes. An Iron Hands Thunderhawk Blood Angel. Obviously Blood Angels. Why would it be Iron Hands? That'd be crazy talk, Resi. I wouldn't change chapter just to make my Thunderhawk better. Looking alright, I think. An Iron Hands. No, I don't get it. Sort of. Does the Thunderhawk have a melee? Yeah, it does. It did do a wound to a Vanguard veteran, but it was saved, and then I was sad. Because of course we still get +1 to wound. And it's strength 8. Right, let's do the little skull thing on the back of this. start assembling it in a minute just so I can see what it's going to look like. Have you got the Forge World Sanguinius model? I have got the Forge World Sanguinius model. I haven't painted it yet, however. And Mark very kindly managed to get hold of the Sanguinius Scenic Base with a Bloodthirster on it for me as well, which is rather nice. Monty Python's Holy Grail, which swallow is he asking about? Is it a North African swallow? I think that's the one that can carry a coconut. Right, you can't actually see any of this, so I'm just slopping some paint on this foot in case you manage to look at it at some weird angle. Right. We need to work on the base now. Put Mephi to one side and we'll get started on this bit. So I'm going to use Eclipse Grey from Scale Colour. I'm going to kind of make my own contrast paint with this, just to do this big old rock in the middle there. So I'm going to mix it up with a load of contrast medium. And this is kind of a slightly brownish tone grey colour. There's just some more contrast medium. What does it hit them with in melee? Its landing strut. I like to think it just like noses them like a cat does when it's shoving you. Right, and then I need to switch water cups because that one's now tainted with metallics. That foot, it's the type of model design that makes you scratch my head. You can't even see it. What contrast paints do you own? Quite a lot of them, to be honest. I don't own all the new ones, but I've probably got, I don't know, 20 or so contrast paints. I like them. They're good when you try and do things in a hurry. Is this Mephiston for you or a commission? Yeah, it's my own. Cheers, Alfie. We'll go back to the Mephiston in a minute because I need to do the highlights for the metallics, but they take a little while to dry, so I'm just leaving them alone for a minute. I'll work on this base. I really wish that they did a kind of contrast mid-grey brown colour, but they don't. They do like Space Wolves grey, which is more blue. Black Templar, which is, well, black. And then they've got the new one, which is also black. And they don't really have a good quality contrast grey colour. I'm up to 42 contrast paints. That's more than I've got, mate. I've got a decent chunk of them, but there's a lot that I think are pretty similar to each other. I'm not going to count them because I'll be here all day, but I like contrast medium, however, because I make up colours I haven't got. And that's just the fact they decided to cut it that way. It gives it a lot of people problems when building and painting it. I can see how it might. It's just weird. My intention is to get in the hobby stream too soon. I have to set up a better station. Hoping a week, so fingers crossed. It's a tad annoying to put together. Yeah, it is a bit. Contrast paints are strange to me. I use very little of them on models. The ones I use, I tend to use slightly more and more each time just to experiment with. I still don't know if I actually like it. They've got a unique use, and that use, if it's what you want, is very handy. There's no way I'd have been able to paint these as quickly as I am if I wasn't using any contrast. But they don't work if you just use them on their own. To match the rest of my army, I'm going to do his base. Now the base is a deserty. So this is some Scrag Brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this dollop of Scrag Brown with a load of water. And then in the other one, I'm going to use a kind of yellowish colour, which is Sahara Yellow. I'm going to do a bit of a wet blend between the two to get the base how I want it. I need a good dollop of this. And then some water. I want it really dilute. Almost like a wash consistency. And then in the other one, I'm going to use a Sahara Yellow. What contrast paint do you use the most for Blood Angels? Historically, Flesh Tearers, although I've got that new Baal Red, and I think over Zenithal, if you're in a hurry, so the red on this Dreadnought, for example, let me zoom out a bit so you can see a bit better. Get it to focus, there it is. The red on this is actually that contrast Baal Red over a Zenithal, and I really like the look that it gives doing that. Back in. I reckon I'm going to attempt to make my own version of Targor Raid Shade, geez that name, as a test, and then just I may buy some. Also Mortarian Grime. Yeah, they look pretty good colours. People seem to be really excited about them. You might have noticed, I think I've used a wash once and that was on the gloves because I didn't like the brown was too reddish. I really don't use washes. Something against washes, they have their place and they can be quite useful, but I don't like them. I prefer to paint my shades in by hand. This paint is running out. I've had an irrational desire to convert Chaplain Venerable Dreadnought this week. Box Dread, obviously. Oh, obviously. I loved that Chaplain Dreadnought kit, and I didn't pick one up when I had the chance, and now I never will. I'm sad about that. I don't know how well it's coming across in the shade, but I've got this kind of yellowish colour, and then I've got the Scrag Brown. Now, the Scrag Brown is super thin down. The idea being that it's going to act more like a wash. And it should, you see me touching it on there, be super, super flowy. And because the grey's not dry yet either, they should all sort of blend together a little bit. It's kind of sort of a fade from the orangey colour to the yellowy colour. Reinforce that orange a little bit. Yellow just to tie it together. What I'm trying for is to try and make it look like this has been in there for a while. And that'll look alright. We'll do some pigments and that once the model's on there. And then we'll do the base for him as well. Let's put that to one side while it dries a bit. And then we'll go back to Mephiston and do the highlights for the metallics. Will it be marble? No, I'm not doing marble. It takes too long. I haven't got time for that. It can look good as marble, but it wouldn't fit with the rest of my army as well, which is all sort of desert-y and manky. Stopped using washes last year too, for probably the same reasons. I use them only on metallic parts. Don't even use them on metallic parts, to be honest, mate. Whoa, way too much paint there. Oh well, everyone's done that. I'm using more and more homemade formulas a lot like Tony's doing just here. Wash, glaze, tint, filter, what you have, really nice. Yeah, exactly. If I need something, I can generally make it up. And then I make it up to how I need it and how I want it. It's different than necessarily GW or Army Painter or Valet or whatever think I want it. So this is Elven Gold from Scale 75. It's another nice gold colour. I'm just using this to do a few highlights. Way too much gold paint. I'll have to try it next time. I've a 0 pile of glory at the moment for the first time in a long time. I might get an ironclad soon and experiment. Jesus Christ, 0 pile of glory. I don't think I've had 0 pile of glory since I was actually ever. I don't think I ever finished painting the very first box that I got, which was the 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy box. I don't think I ever painted all the Bretonians out of that. Too much paint, me, never. Please excuse me while I hide my totally not paint crimes box. Yeah, absolutely. That's really annoyed me, that, because yeah, that's a lot of paint on that palette and I have no need for half of that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I just realised I've missed a ring. Right. I feel like there's the 4 golds from Scale 75 need. Necro Gold, Elven Gold, Peridot Alchemy, Citrine Alchemy. I might pick up the Viking Gold. I use Viking Gold for Custodes. It's a much redder tone. If I was going to suggest one other colour, it'd be Decayed Metal. I use it as the base for the Custodes, and it's great for copper colours or warmer golds. Dips whole model into Mephiston Red, dries, then dips whole model into Null Oil. Gonna drop off, folks. Time for bed. Good night, namesake. Tony, what are your thoughts on GW continuing to do the Space Wolves dirty? Those new 4-year-old helmets are laughable. They are laughable, but as is their fluff. Terrible, terrible fluff for the Space Wolves. And Lemon Russ is written as an arsehole, to be honest. The whole Magnus did nothing wrong is obviously not true, but at the same time, Space Wolves are absolute arseholes. Actually need to do a little bit of metallics on the head now. This is just those funny little sockets on the side of his head for some reason he's got. Okay, and then while they're drying, let's highlight the silver. So to highlight the silver, I'm going to use... What am I going to use? I'm going to use heavy metal. This is a nice bright silver. Alright chat, I have a game of Death Guard versus Imperial Knights. Any suggestions this matchup? I'm playing Death Guards. Win. No, that's not fair. Death Guard are very slow. You can generally run around them because you're going to be so much quicker than they are. They're going to be probably better at playing the mission though than you, especially if they go quite hoardy. So you're going to have to make sure you kill off their scoring units is the main thing. Blight Lords and that are still going to be a threat to you. As are a lot of their mortal wound strats. Be a little bit careful about those. Oh, it's always annoying when you miss a bit. So I've missed a little bit that should be gold on his sword, and I've missed it. I'll drop down here. Getting your contagions going, pretty much removing their inbound save at the same time is what you need. Oh, of course, you're playing Death Guard, yeah, so just swarm the place. Swarm it with infantry. Hello, Jim Carroll. I'm painting Mephiston. Slowly. How am I doing for time? Oh, running out of time. We've got 15 minutes left, so I think it's about time I started assembling. But before I can do that, I've missed a bit on this, so I need to just... Highlights there. Right. Start putting it together and then see how it looks. Well, red. Don't forget the blood vials. Yeah, I'll do those in a minute. I'll do those last. I know, time pressure. I'm panicking. Stop it. Pay attention. Can't even see where I've put things now. Right, okay, base. Glue. Actually, I'll use a little bit of this plastic glue. If you get to the bottom of your pot and it's just annoying now because it doesn't quite, the brush doesn't quite reach it. Go. Whoop. Backpack time. Taking the excess putty off of it. Excess any putty off of it, really, I suppose. And all of the blue tick. Yeah, it's dumb. Like, you have to buy another and combine it. So, yeah. It's annoying. It's really irritating. Why not give yourself another 30-minute next stream to take it at one more level? I might have to, but let's see where we get. Because I want to be able to take a picture and say, this is where we got to in 4 hours. How much time have we got? Yeah, 9 minutes, plenty. Miss you painting his face. What was your paint method? What did I use? I blended up from a basic flesh from Scale Colour up to Vallejo Ivory. I did his eyes pretty much first because that meant that if I messed it up I could go back and tidy it up before I'd done all the highlights. The hair was done in a similar way. I went from kind of an ochre colour up to ivory. Well, come on, get in the hole. I think it was Foz that told me that he chipped the hell out of his, putting it in the hole, and I can see why. Paper. My big fat sausage fingers are not doing a good job of this. Tweezers are required. we go. Don't know if you guys can see that on the stream or not. That's how he looks. I'm relatively happy with that for 4 hours, to be honest. Do you have a suntan skin recipe you like? Let me think if I was going to do that. Probably start with something a bit like the old dwarf flesh. Go up to Kislev flesh. Right, okay, that's on there. Let's do some blood drops, shall we? So my cheapy recipe for blood drops is do your highlights with gold underneath and then use some of this blood for the blood god because it's uber glossy and just literally drop it on like a blood drop. And it gives you this lovely glossy blood drop. I mean, you can do the traditional with the colours and the white dot, and that looks great. Yeah, I want less ruddy Caucasian and more golden. I haven't found a combo I'm into yet. I mean, you can use... I'll have to... Give me a second just to finish this off. And I'll get out my golden skin paint if you want a more golden colour. Because more golden skin is not quite the same as a more suntan skin. Blood drops on him. Big one. I think it's worth taking time to do a traditional gem technique. Good gems really lift a mini. They do. And for my custodes, I've done that. But for these blood angels, I've used this blood for the blood god over a metallic base technique for all of them. So I don't really want to be changing that up just yet. Remember it? Ah, that was it. Go. Happy with that. Now what do we need? Panicking. How many minutes have we got? 4 minutes. Right. Let's put the lid on that, or I forget. And pigment time. I'm going to use some dark earth and a bit of orange rust. Pigments. Right, panic. I'm going to use this old dry brush just to work them in. What's next on the list to paint? On stream, I haven't made my mind up. Now, I have got to paint a classic Yarick. You know, the one with the big crab claw, rather than the more modern Grimdark one. And I think that might be quite fun to try and do against the clock. I kind of like doing them against the clock on the stream, because whenever I post one of these, I'm like, this is a 3-hour job, this is a 4-hour job, or whatever. I always get the comments of, no it isn't, well this one is, and you've seen me do it. If I'm doing it, I'm not doing realistic, but it's definitely having goblin green. Like a darker colour in there. There's all that fancy detail on that rock that's like speaking and stuff on it, but you can't see any of it. It's all covered up by his cloak. Right, there we go. I think that's looking alright. So we brush off. Then it is time for the all-important black base rim. It's very similar time frame for my Coty as yesterday. I'm choosing not to end there. Sure, you don't have to. But like I say, I've got a deadline and I'm trying to stick to it. I'm going to fail because I've got 1 minute left and I haven't painted the base rim black yet. There he is. So what's my time like? Come on, 1 minute past midnight. I think I'll take that. That is a 4 hour and 1 minute Mephiston. So I'll spin him round so you can see him. There he is. Nearly there. Right guys, so I'm just about going to end the stream there. I'm not going to paint anything else now. But if anybody's got any questions or anything, I'll take a proper picture and I'll post it in the Discord. And then you guys can see it a bit better on there, because it's quite hard to see. It's on a camera and a slightly out of focus camera at the moment. Oh yeah, it's back in focus. John probably would have given him a weird head swap, probably from Primaris and Curse or something. Yeah, probably. Take him a few minutes for having to deal with shoulder peakers like us yelling you in a YouTube chat window. True, but 4 hours is 4 hours. So I'm happy with that. Yes, if I had a bit more time, I could improve him a little bit. There's a few details that I would like to do slightly better. It would be nice to do a little bit of freehand on the cloak, and I might yet do that. But that won't be in the now. That will be later on. So there is Mephiston. You can do him in 4 hours. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for the moral support. And I will see you all for our regularly scheduled stream on Tuesday night. If anybody's got any good ideas for stuff they'd like me to do, please let me know. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I will see you all on the next one. Cheers guys.